Hi, everybody. My name is Mark Fisher, and welcome to our channel, Our Scientology Stories, Peeling the Onion. I was in Scientology from the age of 14 and graduated in 1976 and joined the Sea Organization, where I worked directly in the Sea Organization with many people, including working on things for L. Ron Hubbard at the time. The last 6 years of my time in the Sea Organization, I actually worked and set up David Miscavige's office and was his right-hand man at the secret gold base in Gillham Hot Springs, and then finally left in 1990. Okay. And so I have a lot of experience in dealing with Scientology, in dealing with David Miscavige. And this is a story about a celebrity. And I also dealt with a lot of celebrities in Scientology as well. Before we get started, I want to introduce to you our co-host, and that's Janis Gillham Grady. Hi, Janis. How are you today?
Hi, Mark. I'm good. G'day, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to watch our show. Just so you know who I am, my name is Janis Gillham Grady. I was born into Scientology to parents who became very, very active and involved. My father was Peter Gillham, who many will know as the Vitamin King, and my mother was Yvonne Gillham, later married to Heber Gents, the president of the Church of Scientology. My mother was Yvonne Gents, and she is the person that started Celebrity Center in Los Angeles in 1969. And she met many celebrities. I was on the ship, the Scientology ship, working for L. Ron Hubbard at the time. So I was not with my mother while she met all these different celebrities, but I heard all the different stories, and I did get to meet many celebrities along the way. And the celebrities we're talking about today is, I knew his parents very well, and we'll go into that with the story.
Okay, thanks, Janis. Yeah, who we're talking about here is Cole Hauser, okay? And he's an actor, and he's famous right now for being the character Rip on the Yellowstone TV series with Kevin Costner. He's the ranch foreman, and he's been on that series since the beginning. He's also known, too, right now, he's on a lot of commercials for the Tunnels to Tower organization, which raises money for people, survivors of the 9/11 tragedy, and also our war heroes who went over to fight for us over in the Middle East, and being able to provide housing and free mortgages, actually, for the surviving family members of these people. So you may know him from that too, but he's been an actor in Hollywood for quite some time. Okay. But what is his connection to Scientology? That's what we're talking about here today. And so we're going to start with that, Janis, with his parents.
Okay, so here we have Wings Hauser. He was also known as Wings Living Right, and Wings had actually worked at Celebrity Center for my mother. And in 1973, when I went on my leave of absence to visit my mom, Wings was working at Celebrity Center. And I used to actually, at nighttime after everyone had gone home, he'd sit downstairs and play the piano and sing. And I was 17. I'd go down there and just flirt with Wings, for something to do. Good looking guy, So that's how I met Wings originally. And then I knew him over the years. When he met Cass Warner is related to the Warner brothers. And when she hit 21 years old, she got a large inheritance, and she helped my mother a lot in buying a building for the Celebrity Center staff. Cass even purchased a beautiful ranch outside of Santa Barbara in Canyon Springs. I think it was Canyon Springs. That's the name that comes to mind. And she had horses there, and Wings loved horses. So they had that. And Cass would let my mother put on different events up there where she'd had, little different Scientology classes to help people with their career or their life using little bits of Scientology.
So she got into Scientology at a pretty young age, right, Cass Warner?
Well, I know when she got into Scientology, Harvey Haber was her boyfriend at the time, and he's the
Who's
one that got her
Harvey?
in. Harvey Haber is a known Scientologist from the 70s, and he was a Sea Org member later on. But when Cass got her inheritance, it was a total surprise to her when the attorney showed up and knocked on the door. So Harvey says to me, he says, yeah, so I helped Cass spend the money, and that's where she brought the Canyon Springs Ranch
Got
and,
it. And then, of course,
different things.
Yeah, and Wings, you could look on his IMDb, the Hollywood website, and see he was a guest star on many television series in the 70s and early 80s, and also I think I saw he was on a soap opera called The Young and the Restless as well. So he had an acting career going at the time. But anyway, they obviously met and they got married at some point, right?
Yes, they got married, and they had a son, which was Cole. And here they are. They were living at the Fifield Manor, which is where Celebrity Center is now. They had an apartment there and was raising Cole there. And then shortly after, I think it was around January 77, maybe. I might have that year be off by a year, but they broke up, and Cass ended up joining the Sea Org. Taking the Sea Organization and taking Cole with her. But first she went as public, which is when I believe the next picture was taken.
And she was public and in Clearwater, Florida, right?
Yes. So she was at Clearwater getting services and had Cole with her while she was doing that, which is when, and so Cole was actually in the nursery with the Sea Org children. And this is a picture of Cole here on the right on the big wheel. And this is out in front of the cabanas at the Fort Harrison, which is where the public were living and where the nursery was set up.
Yeah, there was a nursery. There was a nursery out there for the children of Sea Org members that lived, Sea Organization members that lived in Clearwater, and they had recently come off the flagship Apollo and were land-based, and all of a sudden married couples were having children left and right. And so there were a lot of babies and a lot of young children. And the child on the left is one of the staff members' child. And then, of course, like she said, on the right is Cole Hauser, and they're on their big wheels running around the cabana area in their diapers. And that's Cole Hauser on the right. And this was a Scientology location, Fort Harrison Hotel. And like you said, Cass had just joined the Sea Organization herself and brought her son with her.
Right. Now, while she was there, she worked for the L. Ron Hubbard Public Relations branch. So she worked on public relations for Hubbard, and she met a young man called Glenn Poole, who she ended up marrying. And there's Glenn there, who became Cole's stepfather. Glenn actually, I'd known Glenn a long time. He'd been on the Apollo with us, and he was actually my first official boyfriend.
Good-looking guy.
Yeah, he was. He was very good looking. And he used to, the way we kind of met was he used to gamble in the aft lounge, and I would go down there and sit and watch the games. And he said he would win every time I was there. So he'd always give me half the pot. He'd win the pot and he'd give me half. And I'm like, by the end of the game, I mean, this happened the whole time we were crossing the Atlantic. By the time we got to Bermuda, I had more money than him because he had to keep putting his money back into gamble. And every pot I got half. And I didn't, So anyway, Glenn was my first boyfriend.
What was his position in Clearwater when he met Cass Warner?
I'm not sure. I think he was ordered to training, or he might have even been on the rehabilitation project force at that time.
But he was a Sea Org member too. He was in the Sea Organization.
Yes, right? Yes, he was a Sea Org member, and when he met Cass, it was in '77, I think, when he met Cass, because I was just going over the rainbow to where Hubbard was at the time when they started dating and seeing each other.
Yeah,
And
and
then
for viewers who have never watched our channel before, the Sea Organization, in order to join, you sign a billion-year contract. It's a dedication to Scientology and to the Sea Organization, and you sign away a billion years of your life, which is, crazy when you think about it. But that's what Cass Warner did, and that's what Glenn Poole did. That's what I did. That's what you did, right, Janis?
yes, I did it at 11 years old in
Yeah.
order to be able to see my mother.
Right.
So,
And so
but
they were raising coal at this time in Clearwater, correct?
yes, and then I believe Cass got pregnant, and so they were then sent out to one of the Scientology organizations to Portland, and Glenn remained active. He remained like as a SEAL member on garrison to Portland, and he was the qualifications secretary at Portland. And Cass, I heard, had a ranch nearby where she raised coal, and Glenn and her daughter. So that they made it work so that they could still be a family with him staying in Scientology.
Okay, great. So what's the next pictures that we have here, Janis? Can I go ahead and show
Well,
this?
this was 76. Cass allowed my mother to use her ranch in Canyon Springs. So my mom, my sister, and I, and Heber, we went and we stayed there outside of Santa Barbara. This first picture, that was Heber leading the way or pointing the way. He was just goofing around and climbed up there and was going to be the statue. And then the next picture is my mom and Heber riding Cass and Wings's horses that they had at the ranch. And that was fun to see my mother up on a horse again. And Heber. And then here's the family. Our dad then came and joined us. So we had Heber and our dad, and you can see me in the brown pants there. We were going to the swimming pool. We'd just hang out at the pool, and we'd all go on hikes, and we'd go into Santa Barbara, just having fun, being a family together, which Cass was very, very involved in by allowing us to do that, because we hadn't been a family. We'd been on the ship, and now we were finally in America, and Cass saying, hey, come and use my place and just hang out with the family. That I was very grateful for that, because it was the first time we were all together, except for my brother. But my sister and I were with our dad and with our stepfather, Heber, and our mother. So that was a very memorable time for us. And there I am hanging out on the hammock out back of the house.
I'm muted.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I was trying to point out that's you
Oh.
in the hammock over there.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so all right, so Cass Warner or whatever, right? She works in Hollywood. I think she's a producer and that type of thing. But did she get out of the Sea Organization, and also Glenn Poole? Did they leave at some point?
Well, Glenn was at Portland, and Cass, Cass, I guess she got out of the SEAL because she wasn't working at Portland. Olga, it was just Glenn. But Glenn passed away several years ago. So
Okay.
I don't know what's happened since then.
Now, Cass Warner, though, just so people understand who have not watched our channel before, if you leave the Sea Organization, right, basically you're no longer considered a Scientologist until you pay off what's called a freeloader debt, which is the money that you quote unquote owe to Scientology for all the training and the processing that you got. So when she left, she would have had to pay whatever it is in order to be able to get back in good standing and then become a public Scientologist. And my understanding is she's been a donor and a dedicated Scientologist for some time. The last that I heard, is that right?
Yeah, that's the same as what I heard in good standing.
And Wings, whatever happened, like he's still alive, correct?
Yeah, Wings is still alive. I actually have a story on Wings. After he'd married Cass, there was a big event, and I don't remember what it was for, but it was a big event at the, I mentioned it to you. What was that the movie theater?
Oh,
the stage theater.
The Hollywood
Pantages
Theater, yeah.
Yeah, there was an event being done there, and Wings was part of the entertainment. And all the CMO, the Commodore's Messenger, all international people came down. It was a big event, a lot of people there. And Wings is up on the stage performing. And then at this time, there was a monthly increase in prices. It was called Buy Now. And at the end of the month, the regs would get all over the public of buy now before the prices go up. And it was
And
used as a
buy now means
sales
pay for
gimmick.
services. It's pay for Scientology services, right?
Right. It was used as a sales gimmick. And so each month the prices were going higher and higher and higher. And Hubbard was off the lines and nobody wanted to change something he'd put in. So it just kept happening. Well, Wings is up there on the stage and he then starts mouthing off, you need to stop the buy now and bring it to an end. And, you know, he was like trying to get everybody razzed up. And I'm just kind of, I agreed, you know, but what are you going to do? I wasn't in a position to do that. And in the end, Diana Riesdorf, who was the Watchdog Committee chairman, she talked to Mary Sue about it, and Mary Sue was like, "You got to stop it."
Mary Sue
And
Hubbard, who was Hubbard's wife.
Right. So Dee actually put a stop to it, and when Hubbard came back on the lines, he was so mad that Dee had stopped it and that she had taken Mary Sue's advice on it, that is one of the main reasons Dee got removed as the commanding officer, was she put a stop to the buy now.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah.
So let's get back here to Cole Hauser.
Yes.
Okay?
Sorry.
So he's the son of Wings Hauser and Cass Warner. Okay. Now they both were in Scientology as Scientologists and also staff members as Sea Org members, and all the way through his young life, right from child up through becoming a young adult. He doesn't really say if he was a Scientologist or involved in Scientology. But Janis, in your experience, would Sea Org members have children who were not somehow involved in some way in Scientology?
No, they wouldn't. And especially with Glenn working at the Portland org every day, he's immersed in Scientology. So you can bet when he's coming home as the stepfather for Cole, and Wings being his father, also a Scientologist, and Cass, you can bet he was raised with the knowledge of Scientology.
And we're not making any judgment on Cole Hauser. He may not have had, been involved in Scientology. He may not be involved now, but we're just trying to point out the connection that he has with Scientology. He's a great actor and he does great work. We're not criticizing him in any way, shape, or form. We're just pointing out the connection there with Scientology. Right, Janis?
Right. And I don't know if he is or not. That's his choice. And whether he wants to make it public, that's his choice again. But he might not be a Scientologist.
Yeah. Anyway, that we wanted to tell this story because Janis was running through her photos and found these things, and we thought it would be an interesting story to share with our subscribers as well as anybody new who's watching our channel. And if you are new to watching our channel, I wanted to mention as well that we've done other celebrity stories, celebrity-oriented stories, including a story about when Tom Cruise met David Miscavige, the leader of Scientology. It was the beginning of the bromance, okay? And I was physically there. I was working for David Miscavige at the time. And so if you're interested in hearing that story, please click on the video in our channel, our Scientology Stories Peeling the Onion, and watch it. It's about a 20-30 minute video, and I think you'll enjoy learning about that. And also, if you're interested in David Miscavige, here's another video of ours that we did regarding David Miscavige when he got married to his wife Shelley Miscavige, who's been missing for 17 years now, and a lot of interest in where's Shelley and all that. Well, we did a video where we actually show their wedding photos in 1980, as well as we interviewed Shelley's boyfriend, who was her boyfriend before David Miscavige, and he contacted us. And so he's on this actual video talking about Shelley. And so if you're interested in finding out about that, please watch that video on our channel. Okay. And I just wanted to mention, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to our channel. It's our Scientology Stories Peeling the Onion. This is the @ button, our address for our channel on YouTube at Mark Fisher and Janis Gillham. Grady. Okay. And if you have any questions at all, please ask in the comment section. Janis and I check the questions several times a day, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Janis, is there anything else you'd like to say or talk about on this regarding before we end off?
Well, I do have a saying of rock slam that like button. So please hit the like, and we'd appreciate if you do subscribe and follow us. We do have some great stories. So thank you for
Absolutely.
watching.
Thank you for watching, everybody. And until the next time, bye-bye. We'll see you.
Bye.